Hello, family. Welcome back to the African Diaspora News channel. I'm Wongel Zelalem, and today we are talking about US allies just refusing to back Trump's move when it comes to Iran. I think there was an expectation from Trump that other countries like NATO, Asian countries that he had relationship with, even Middle Eastern countries, he expected them to back him up, to back this war, to support him in everything that he needs. But shocks on him. That's not happening. Even allies, strong allies like the UK, Germany, Spain, Italy, they are not giving their support for this war. There are many reasons that they have given. We'll go through some of them, but I want to verbatim read for you exactly what they said. Like allies, Germany, like huge ally, right? They explicitly said they will not participate in this war. Poland refused to send any troops. Spain, this one is a strong one. They actually strongly opposed the war, and they even denied. They not only said, no, we're not gonna participate, but they said, nah, we're not even gonna allow you to use our military base for attacks. So yeah, there's that. UK refused to be drawn into it as well. They said no. Italy, they said no participation in the military. France, they didn't strongly say no, but they said they rather push for diplomacy, right? Like they want to bring peace. And it doesn't stop there. Australia, another strong no. They declined any kind of participation when it comes to military operation. Asian countries like South Korea, they said they are evaluating very closely. That's a diplomatic answer, but basically, they're not participating in none of this move US is making. As we know, China does not agree. Japan said they are concerned about the legality and escalation. That's another diplomatic way of saying, yeah, we're not on board. Like, how legal is this what you're doing? Like, we don't like it. So, yeah, there are many countries that spoke out, but the allies that US expected to rally behind and support this war, they do not want to participate. For the most part, they say they don't want, for this to escalate and become a world war, right? Another world war. But also, they are concerned about oil, economy, and retaliation. Iran have, we've seen how they've retaliated. It was not, I don't know what they expect. I'm not sure if genuinely Trump expected them to just, just accept it, but they retaliated in a way where it feels like it was not anticipated. Because why is it, why are we now talking about something else? Before it started, it was like, we're gonna show them. Now it's like, the tone has changed, as you know. So countries are afraid, their economies, the oil, in case you didn't know, Iran has a strategic point when it comes to this
The Strait of
explains it
Hormuz.
better for you.
Iran already closed the Strait of Hormuz. Now they're threatening to close the world's other critical oil route. Here's what happens if both are blocked at the same time. The second route is called the Bab el-Mandeb, a narrow 18-mile waterway between Yemen and Africa. Every ship traveling between Asia and Europe passes through it to reach the Suez Canal. Iran doesn't control it directly, but the Houthis in Yemen do, and the Houthis answer to Iran. Iran has already warned if the U.S. makes another move, the Bab el-Mandeb is next. So what happens if both close? The Suez Canal becomes completely useless. Egypt loses its biggest source of income overnight, and every ship between Asia and Europe has one option left. Go around the entire continent of Africa, the Cape of Good Hope route. That adds 10 to 18 extra days to every single journey. The world's three biggest shipping companies are already rerouting vessels around Africa just in case. And here's where you feel it. Longer journeys mean higher costs. Higher costs mean more expensive products. Everything gets pricier. The Strait of Hormuz carries 20% of the world's oil. The Bab el-Mandeb carries 12% of global trade. Iran now controls one and has its hand on the other.
Yeah, Iran is in a strategic place, and just because of this chaos in this few weeks, a lot of countries, their prices, the fuel, oil prices have gone up. And as you know, when oil price goes up, everything else increases because they use most of the transportation, the trucks they use, the vessels, the planes, they take that fuel. Hence, if that increases, everything else, the goods, the merchants, the sellers, the companies have to add on to it in order to make profit. So everything escalates, goes up, and that is why countries allies of US are hesitant to get involved, because one, they're afraid of retaliation because Iran has showed they could retaliate, but also like there's consequences to action, like to this action, and they don't want to be part of it. And I guess now it's clear to see that they're not on board. But this is what Iran had to say.
They are, they are asking other countries to come and help them so that the Strait of Hormuz remains open, which, of course, from our perspective, it is open. It is only closed to our enemies, to those who carried out unjust aggression against our country, and to their allies. We have not sent any message. We are not asking for a ceasefire. But this war must come to an end in a way that it will not be repeated again.
Uh-oh. Did you hear that? We're not asking for ceasefire. It's gonna end. This war is gonna end, in a way, and in a way where it's not gonna happen again. It's like that's like a direct message. You messed with us. We're not gonna beg for ceasefire. We're not gonna beg for you to stop. We're gonna end up where we're gonna end up. And that is going to show you to never mess with us again, basically, right? Like paraphrasing or rephrasing or whatever you call it. Like that's what he was saying. And important to note, he said, we haven't closed it down. It's only closed to our enemies. That's also a very clear and direct way of saying, like, others can pass through. You don't get to pass. And we all know who they're talking about and who they're not allowing to pass. So basically, which I agree with, US allies, when they're also refusing military operation or supporting US, what they are saying, and I like it, NATO to be specific, they were saying this was a war of choice. So the reason why they don't want to get involved is this is not a defensive situation, because according to them, it's like a war of choice. You chose to be in that position. Why are you dragging us into this? Why are we supposed to come and face, unaliving casualties from our side, resources, taxpayers' money? Like, why do we have to go through that, right? It's you that started it. Or as France said, like, we are looking for a diplomatic, way of solving this instead of saying either no, saying yes or no. They decided to go that way. But Trump just recently said something, and I just can't believe a sitting president is admitting or saying this. Well, we all know that this happens, and US have been involved in this, and politicians have done this, presidents have done this. They just never admitted to it, and it's just mind-boggling to me how Trump can just say this.
Hero, we don't need oil. We have all the oil we need for ourselves. It's one of the great assets that we have. We have more than double what anybody else in terms of oil production. We're at more than double any other country. So we don't need it, but we did it. It's almost, you could say we did it out of habit, which is not a good thing to do. But we did it because we have some good allies there.
Did you hear that, fam? Like, did you? I have to play it again. I'm sorry.
You could say we did it out of habit.
We could say we did it out of habit. How do you, as a country, start something somewhere else out of habit? I mean, no, I know someone is gonna come and say, like, we all know that's we all know this. I know, we know that. But like, do you understand the gravity? Like the president, the sitting president, admitting to that and saying that words don't have meanings anymore. Like we shouldn't feel like the way we're feeling, because I know some people tell us, I mean, it is what it is, so what? What do you mean, so what? This is world war that we're talking, like an actual, escalation. If it escalates, hopefully it doesn't escalate, because we don't need another war in this world. Like there's so much we're going through already. We don't need this at all. But the fact that a country can start something just because they want to start something it doesn't sound alarming to you. It should, though. It should. You should be alarmed. It's just they desensitized us to it, and we're just supposed to take it. No. And I mean, it's nice to see some of these allies, NATO countries, European countries are at least getting a bit more comfortable standing up against US, saying no, because I mean, there are so many examples we can name that they were on board, and look at the disaster they've brought. So, but I think they know better not to do this with Iran. But let me get into the comment section. Teresa said, hi, Brian. Wengel, are you going to Canada? God willing. Are you coming? It depends. Will you come? Umbutu. Uh, Umbutu wrote, sounds about right. Gail says Trump and Israel wanted this, let them fix it. Why would any other country support this aggression? Frankly, the military should refuse to support this war, which is not for the USA's benefit. Brian said that sounds like an extremely reasonable stance by Iran, which is troubling. Mason said they are smarter than Iraq and Afghanistan this time. I mean, that's why I always say history is there to learn from. That's why we need to know our history. That's why we should not allow them to rewrite history, to create their narrative for us, and to tell us how it should be and how it should go. History is there, hopefully, for us to learn what has happened. Like if it's something good, I mean, why not? Let's continue doing it, right? But if it didn't serve you before in the past, why not avoid it? Why go on the same path? Prepare, right? Prepare so you don't have to go through the same thing. Mason said, but the only reason the Europeans act like this is because Trump wanted to annex one of their lands, and tariffs. Without that, Europe would have joined. Well, you're talking about Greenland. There's that, but it's like what is it called? Like a compilation of things. It's not one thing that has happened, right? He was threatening just recently NATO, right? Like he has ruffled some feathers, and now when the time comes, even them, like they're getting the to say no. Umbutu said, I dislike the glasses, but Wengel is still gorgeous. Thank you, but I need the glasses. My eyes is just it's not doing well, fam. Brian, Iran doesn't even have to be telling the truth about school children dying. It's a very strong way to make USA seem like the bad guys, true or not. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I mean, but at the same time, even though we don't know right now with AI, and we hear so and so is unalived, I'm sure you've heard that news, or so and so this happened. Like I'm sure there are conflicting stories, and some stories might be made up, but it's not far-fetched. Like it's not hard to believe that people lose their lives when you bomb a country, or like when some, like like it happens. There's casualties. They accept it. They feel like it happens. So it is what it is. That's how they go about it. So I mean, it's not shocking if it's true. And I don't know. I believe that it is true, but as you said, you never know. Um, Michael, or is it Michelle, said, of course, Europe doesn't support. Yeah, I think it's Michelle. Of course, Europe doesn't support the US. That is par of for the course. They will also scream the loudest when the US doesn't support their wars. Brian said, the hubris in Trump is humiliating. He's making Americans all look like idiots, especially people who seem like they voted for him. I hear a lot of people regret voting for him. Oh my God, the amount of people I hear saying they regret voting for him. And to be fair to them, okay, I'm not trying to be, what is it called, a devil's advocate or whatever it is. He was, when he was running the campaign, he was promising his people, the people that voted for him, that he's not going to go to war. In fact, he's going to stop wars. He's going to bring back vets. What are they? It's vets, right? The military troops. He doesn't. He just. It was about peace. He was pushing for peace. He was pushing for kids being able to be kids without any agenda being pushed on them. For parents to have more authority, power, for like he ran on things that people believe that he's going to do, and they voted. I mean, you can't blame them. He's the one backtracking in his promises. Tony said, we didn't do this as a country. A small group of guys made this decision. True. From what I'm seeing, Americans are not down for this. Like most Americans are against it, actually. Even his own people, the people that voted for him, the people that got him there, the people that really shouted the most, like gave a voice to his name, or what are they called? I think they're called MAGA or something. Most of them are saying they regret it. So yeah, I hear you. It's not the country, and we're talking about him and his administration and the people that are in office right now. Umbutu said, is that a fact? Tiffany said, looking beautiful as usual. Love the entire look. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Bobby. Oh, nice. A lot of compliments today. Aubrey, hello. Elliot said, I've heard from somewhere, but can't remember who, but out of the 250 years that the US been a country, only 14 to 16 years been war-free. That's crazy. Yeah, I've also seen a compilation of like all the leaders you've had, if you're American, and next to them they put how many wars they started, how many wars they were involved in, how many wars. Like it's insane. It's insane, honestly, fam. But before I end this stream, I really also want to say kudos to like Americans. I've seen a lot of people are waking up and they're saying like, does not represent us. We're against it. We are against war. We're against people being unalived, and we're just against being the bad guys. Like, and I hear a lot of Americans saying, oh my God, are we like the bad guys? Are we the drama? And that's good. That's how it starts. Like when it starts that way, you can authentically, when you can empathize with the others that the government made you feel like are the enemies. Now maybe the next person you put in power can actually serve you in the right way. Use your tax money the right way. Use it to serve you instead of start a war somewhere else. Yes, fam, I have to end it here because Sister Demetria have to come in. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow, same time. Stay blessed. Bye.